friend's family of conspiracy theorists. How are they handling nobody being affected by the emergency system test? Same way they did for the last 50 other conspiracies turning out to be horseshit. They firmly and smugly believe they are right, adjusted the goalposts, and act like there was something that did happen, but I'm too brainwashed to realize it. Honestly, at this point, Thanos did nothing wrong. I'm too busy feasting on my neighbor's brains to check on them. My dear sister who I love moved the goalpost. I'll die before Christmas. We shall see. They say yet. How did a business permanently lose you as a customer? AutoTrader Online bought a car out of state and they never transported it. They also never handled the paperwork. Seller and I had to do it all ourselves. Weeks of phone calls with AutoTrader ending in, "We promise, doing that now, just shipped." You should hear from them within X hours. 2 months, nothing, never again AutoTrader. I don't believe your lies. Thank goodness seller was a decent human. Glassdoor. Their fact, make you leave a review to read reviews. On top of that, they delete reviews posted by employees. I just want to know if the company I'm applying for is a hellhole. That's it. If an alien spaceship landed right in front of you, right this second, what would you say to the extraterrestrial figure who steps out? Oh, thank God. Let's go tries to get on the ship. Great, now aliens with social anxiety are asking stuff on Reddit. Dharma Kanjalat at Tanagar. Give me and my cat a few minutes to pack a bag, and we'll be ready to go. Are you here to wage war and seize control of our government? You are, oh, thank God. Dude, get out of here. You're going to get shot. Can you hand me a roll of toilet paper, please? Finally, I've been trying to reach you regarding your spaceship's extended warranty. Need a beer. Are you here to rescue me from this planet? Bruh, just go home, you don't want this headache. What's the fastest way to ruin your life, in your opinion? Liquidate all my assets and empty my bank account into a casino. Put it all on roulette. From my experience as a forensic clinician therapist that works in a jail court-mandated treatment, punching a cop is the quickest way to fuck your life up. Drugs are on the list. Having a child with a less than ideal person is going to suck. But punching a cop is nearly a 100 chance that your life will have drastic, immediate consequences. I've never known anyone to successfully punch a judge. That could be worse overall, but it's harder to set up. Cocaine is God's way of telling you you're making too much money. Robin Williams. What's something that isn't as popular or common in the real world as many Redditors think? Suing people. It's so expensive to start legal proceedings. You can't sue for everything. Not everything deserves legal actions. Reddit itself. People see something popular on Reddit and tend to think that's how the rest of the Western world feels about something. People tend to forget that this is just a very small subset of the population, further filtered into echo chambers by mods who will ban anyone with a differing opinion. What are some examples of body shaming towards men that go unnoticed? Unnoticed. Ability to grow body hair or having too much of it. We know our hair is thinning, you don't have to keep mentioning it. Little dick jokes are extremely prevalent. Making fun of men's height, and if you are upset by it, people will say you are insecure. What TV show will you never watch no matter how many times people say how good it is? The Bachelor or any TV show like that. Some of them were kind of funny in the 90s, but now they are horrible. Pretty much any reality show, especially talent shows, the cutaways to audience reactions is cringy. I fucking hate the romance ones too. Grey's Anatomy. Literally any dating show. Kardashians. Any TV show involving rich assholes being awful people. Tiger King. Anything with the Kardashians, useless, talentless people. All they how to do is get plastic surgery. Any show beginning with Real Housewives of. What item did you not realize was expensive until you became an adult? Gotta be furniture. New tires. Most unexciting $1,000 purchases I have ever made. Food is both more expensive and goes bad quicker when you're an adult. Groceries for sure. When I first moved out on my own, anytime I could afford fresh fruit or a name brand snack, I felt like royalty. Groceries. Free time. As a kid, I had loads of it and gave it away. Now I can't afford even a minute. Ross. Kids. I'm amazed how my parents could afford me. Cars. All grown-ups had them, maybe even multiple. I still think it's insane that some cars are more expensive than a two-bedroom apartment. What is the biggest lie told to people in human history? The war won't last long. Please listen carefully as our menu options have recently changed. We are a family and care about our employees. I acknowledge that I have read and agree to the above terms and conditions. Your call is important to us. There are hot singles in my area dying to meet me. Push flap to open on the Kraft mac and cheese box. Your baby is beautiful. You won't always have a calculator. Yes, I will remember to cancel the subscription just before the free trial ends. No strings attached. What profession always acts like they have the hardest job on earth, but it actually isn't all that bad? My family acts like my job is difficult engineering leadership constantly in meetings where I'm arguing with people my wife's words. I've been a software engineer for the last 20 years, and now most of my job is soft skills, mostly focusing on concepts and mentoring rather than actually doing the grunt work. I love it. This is by far the cushiest job I've ever had. They're all crazy. Real estate agent. Sales, we are a big bunch of whiny babies a lot of the times. I think it's because of the extreme highs and lows we go through. Military spouses. What's a video game that will forever be in your heart no matter what age you reach? Roller Coaster Tycoon. I'd love to see all the RCT fans. How about the fact this game used to come in boxes of cereal? Anyone remember those glory days? Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2. 7 GoldenEye. The very first video game I ever played was The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past. I was 4 years old when I first played it, and I'll always love it. SimCity. Duck Hunt. Donkey Kong Country. Such a beautiful game. Skyrim and Knight of the Old Republic. Super Mario 64. Spyro 1. Spyro 2. Spyro 3. Oregon Trail. The G video game. What's your reaction when you see fake boobs? Like most plastic surgery, it depends on the situation. They can be tastefully done, and then there's plastic surgery where boobs is all anyone notices on you and it becomes your personality. Really depends on the boobs. There is a massive difference between a good boob job and a cheap one. The first time a girl showed me her fake boobs, my reaction to her was, "They look nice, but do they feel natural?" She says, "Go ahead and check them out." So naturally, I obliged. I told her they feel a little different from natural boobs. They're not as soft, but I enjoy touching them just as much as the natural ones. My sister was very happy. Boobs? What are some cheap protein sources for a broke man? Beans, eggs, beans and rice, tofu, tinned or dried beans and lentils. Bone-in, skin-on chicken thighs, bro. Trust me. Costco rotisserie chicken. Greek yogurt. Lentils have a good amount of protein, as do chickpeas. Both are very affordable, especially if you buy them dried. Tofu is also good, healthy protein that's way less expensive than meat. And you can do a lot with it in terms of seasoning and how you cook it. Eggs are also good, of course, but do come with cholesterol if that's a concern. Tuna definitely. As the best and cheapest source of protein, you can cook tuna spaghetti, tuna sandwich, tuna salad. What fast food place would you never eat from and why? Agree with all those saying Subway here. I have no idea how and why people are still going there in a world where we now have so many better options. Jersey Mike's, Firehouse, Jimmy John's, which? And even Wawa and Publix blow their subs out of the water, pun intended. Burger King, it used to be okay for some things, but now it's a waste of money. McDonald's on Whitman Lane in Lacey, Washington. I was picking up an order from there once and there was a single-use dirty shoe on the counter where the orders were being picked up. The fact that I stood there for 20 minutes and not a single person did anything to move the shoe was disturbing.
Forget drugs, smoking, and alcohol. What is something bad for your health that people don't talk about enough?
STRESS.
Grind culture. We need rest, hobbies, and socialization outside of work. We need that balance.
Not getting enough sleep. Some people even boast about only needing a few hours a night. But that could be very damaging in the long term.
Sitting down all freaking day.
Backflips are dangerous but no one talks about it 'cause they're fucking dope.
Doom scrolling.
Health is not going to improve if you force yourself to look at ceaseless pain. And when your mental health deteriorates too much or too fast, it impacts your ability to care for your physical health.
Not washing your thrift finds before you wear them.
Chronic hate rud.
Doctors of Reddit, what is your craziest story where a patient present with mild symptoms thinking it was nothing and it turned out to be a serious life or death situation?
I'm a dentist. New PT came in with what he thought was a mild ache in his teeth. Thought it was a toothache. Hadn't seen a dentist in years.
Took a radiograph and the jawbone around the teeth looked strange. Had him see an oral surgeon that day. Turned out was a very aggressive metastatic bone cancer and died a few weeks later.
TSA, everyone who's a hypochondriac, stop reading this thread.
What's a place in the US that's just not as bad as Reddit generally makes it out to be? Nothing is generally as bad as Reddit makes it out to be. Detroit. I am not from there and do not live there, but New Jersey. Many people don't realize a huge chunk of the state is beautiful woodland. There is the shore. There are nice neighborhoods. The bad areas are no worse than many other states. There is a ton of history. And there is good food. Its main role in my life right now is to be a place to drive through to get to other places. The long and straight Jersey Turnpike is a welcome respite with decent rest stops between the DMV and NYC. Your experience living in Florida is highly dependent on your income. What is something that people perceive as safe, but in actuality is pretty dangerous? Driving. Stairs, stumbling and falling down is one of the most common fatal accidents at home. Childbirth, still the #1 killer of young women globally. Plastic surgery. Thought of another one, tanning. You're literally cooking your skin and increasing your risk of skin cancer. Social media, Reddit included. Modern day Coke. But I know the guy, he'd never sell me bad stuff, said a lot of people who aren't with us anymore. What is a legitimate country that most people don't know about or didn't realize was a country? Comoros is a small African island nation just northwest of Madagascar, which most people have never really heard of. Dominica, not the Dominican Republic. Liechtenstein, it's a teeny country next to Switzerland. Vatican City, it's the Vatican, and a city, and a country, and it's entirely enclosed by Italy. Taiwan gets shot by assassins hired by the CCP. Lesotho, pronounced Lesotho, is a tiny country completely surrounded by South Africa. People with depression. What is something you wish others would understand? Time moves differently. Therapy isn't an automatic cure. Just how tired I am. Even if it's one of the rare times I get a decent night's sleep, I'm still so tired that you can't cheer me up. It's not the same as being sad. Depressed people are not sad all the time. When it was really bad with me, sometimes I simply felt nothing, like I was just there. No sadness, no anger, nothing. Just emptiness. It's not that I don't care about you. I just don't have the energy to care as much as I used to. I don't even take care of myself, so how can I take care of you? That it physically hurts too. What is something you know is real but others don't seem to believe in? That a bird once flew through the open windows of my car, straight through and out the other side. While I was driving at highway speeds, I was alone in the car and I swear it happened. My reaction, did that just happen? The amount of people that don't know narwhals are actual animals. Concrete boats, rare, but they do exist. Everyone I tell thinks I'm winding them up. What famous person had the most undeserved fall from grace? Arthur Kitt. She spoke against the Vietnam War when asked about it by Lady Bird Johnson at a presidential luncheon. She was labeled a sadistic nymphomaniac by the CIA and blacklisted in Hollywood. Richard Jewell. Not exactly a celebrity, but became famous when he was a security guard during a concert for the Atlanta Summer Olympics, found a backpack full of explosives and alerted the police. They were able to clear almost everyone from the area before it went off. He saved many lives, and then the FBI decided he was the main suspect and ruined his life until eventually clearing him of any wrongdoing. What is something that people perceive as dangerous, but in actuality is pretty safe? Small bubbles in an IV line aren't going to kill you like the movies. The amount of panicked patients I've had is wild. I'm sure other people have said, but trick or treating. Any danger in drugs or razor blades in candy is wildly overblown in actuality. I think there have been only 1 or 2 instances of someone actually being malicious with their candy handouts. Wolf attacks on people are so rare they have individual entries on the Wikipedia page. Black bears are pretty harmless. They can kill you, but usually would rather leave you alone. Why did your last relationship fail? Because sometimes love is just not enough. You have to put a lot of effort and work into the relationships. At some point, one person can't hold all the emotional and mental labor. This is basically why it ended. Took me too much time to figure it out. Because I wasn't her partner. I was her project. In retrospect, we both had undiagnosed mental health issues. My infertility. He tried to kill me because I'm apparently incapable of deep emotional connections, distance, and also neither of us knew what we really wanted out of it. We're still friends though. Who was your first celebrity crush? Pink Power Ranger, Amy Jo Johnson, Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, Tiffany Thiessen, Christina Ricci, Elizabeth Shue, Catherine Zeta-Jones in Zorro, Olivia Newton-John or Catherine Bach. That was a long time ago, so either one of them. Alicia Silverstone, Devon Sawa, JTT Jonathan Taylor Thomas, heartthrob of the times, Kelly Bundy, Susanna Hoffs, she's still a beauty, Raquel Welch, Cameron Diaz from The Mask specifically. First time watching that scene when she's dancing in that glittery dress, as a kid I felt my jaw dropped as far as Jim Carrey's character. Daisy Duke. What's the weirdest thing a medical professional has casually said to you? You just hang on right there, we will get you a wheelchair and admitted to the hospital. We have to do a colonoscopy. But don't worry, I will knock you out before sticking a camera up your ass. If you ever tried to have a baby, the kid would snap your pelvis into and rip you in half. Said by my gynecological surgeon. He said it in the most casual manner. I was mortified. What's the stupidest double standard you ever heard from someone? My crazy uncle used to hire undocumented immigrants while complaining that illegal aliens were stealing people's jobs. He liked to hire them because they worked hard and were cheap. My friend's mom said men cheating and women cheating are different because men only care about the physical and not the emotional. Come to find out, she was being cheated on by her current husband, and I am assuming this is how she coped. Company won't give you a reference when you leave, just your dates of employment and job title. Same company won't hire you without a reference. My aunt slept for wearing short skirts. She doesn't know the father of 2 of her 3 children. What's a situation or condition that nobody understands until they're in it? Being homeless. Chronic pain and mental illness such as depression or anxiety, for example. Being in an emotionally and financially abusive marriage or other relationship. If anyone else whom I cared about was going through what I went through throughout my marriage, I would have told them to run. I didn't realize how messed up my situation was until I finally broke free of it. I can't believe I put up with what I put up with for as long as I put up with it. What's the top item on your bucket list that you would like to accomplish before you die? I want to be at a small open-air festival or fair or the fall so I have long sleeves on. Wait for it. Pees in from a tree and lands on my arm with that cacophony screech and I keep talking, sipping my beer. Like it's normal and hawk maybe an eagle. There's probably laws. Just perched there looking majestic. Well, that and I want to go to Vegas. Watching my kids' high school graduation. I'm being treated for cancer now, so it would mean a lot for me to stick around another 12 years. Besides that, I'd like to make it to the Grand Canyon someday. I haven't seen the ocean in decades. I really want to see it one more time. What idiosyncrasies drive you crazy about your significant other? When he yawns, he typically ends it with avo, from disturbed down with the sickness. It drives me insane. When my wife reseals Ziplocs, she doesn't press the excess air out first, so our freezer, fridge, and pantry have balloons full of food in them. Every cap in my fridge is loose right now. She sets alarms on her phone to remind her of stuff in her daily routine. But her internal clock is so good that she'll get up to do the thing 30 seconds before the alarm goes off on a regular basis. She doesn't take her phone with her, but she's kind enough to leave it somewhere where I have to fucking get up to fucking turn it the fuck off because now she's in the shower or some shit. Why do you think people are getting married less and less these days? In the USA, the relative benefits of marriage and the social pressure to get married have both decreased over the last several decades because your life doesn't depend on it anymore. Divorce lawyers are very expensive. People are becoming less religious, and the motivation to get married has become an accounting decision more than anything. When I marry my partner, it will be to file taxes jointly, drive each other's company cars, share health insurance plans, increase HSA contribution limits, spousal legal immunity, etc. A lot of kids of divorce makes you really consider getting engaged as something important and not just a step in your life. What's the strangest fact you know that most people don't? If you are exposed to roaches for a long enough time, you will become allergic to them. This also means you become allergic to pre-ground coffee. Some medications can cause hair to turn strange colors when bleached. My wife recently got her hair dyed and the first step was bleaching. Because of her medication, it went from medium brown to light pink. Like an Enum character sort of pink. You could even see a line corresponding to a time when her meds were lowered then raised again. When scorpions mate, they do a dance. The male then ejaculates on the ground, grabs the female with his pincers and drags her through it, making sure it contacts her sex organ. What is the smallest hill you'll die on? If I had to pay for sauce, I better have sauce in the bag. More people should learn that saying I don't know is a perfectly accurate and acceptable answer. The thing that divides the barbarians and the civilized of society is giving a wave when someone lets you merge. Stop tacking strings of silent E's onto the ends of words to emphasize them. You don't lovey it. You lube it. If you were saying it aloud, you'd hold the O. Not suddenly start squealing like my tinnitus acting up. It's not that hard, people. You can't use exponential to describe every large increase, especially if you're only looking at two data points. If the automatic door does not open fast enough for me not to break stride, it is broken. Is anyone really okay that we have to work 8 hours a day, 5 days a week? How is this still a thing? I don't get paid to work for 8 hours. I get paid to be available to work for 8 hours. In office setting, when you sit all the time, nitrogen monoxide. That's why I pursue freelancer career. It allows me to work 15-20 hours per week, 3-4 hours per day. Y'all are only working 8 hours. I work 12. I solved that by owning my own business. Now I work 10 hours a day, 6 days a week. Get an office job. Then you can work for 5 hours a day and spend the extra 3-4 hours browsing Reddit. People that enjoy the work they do don't mind it. But yeah, other countries have shown that a 4-day workweek is better and increases productivity. How do men enhance their physical appearance? Workout, skincare, haircut. TN underrated one is correcting your posture. When my husband's happier, he's standing taller. He says he feels a more positive energy from people he'll interact with, so it makes him feel better too. Hold your head up. Regular exercise and a balanced diet really help. I grew a beard to hide some of my chins. acquire these muscles. Ever hear the phrase death by 1,000 cuts? Like that, but the opposite. Yank the nose hair. Get rid of the extra long eyebrow hairs. Get your pants hemmed, moisturize. It all has compound interest. Skincare and good outfits. They say nothing is ever lost on the internet. But what is something you have been searching for years and haven't found it yet? There's this book I read as a kid. A girl moves with her family and new stepdad to somewhere remote. She finds a puppy she names PJ and hides it from the family. I must be mixing up the details because I can find nothing of this book. I've been searching for years. I sadly have not been able to access my old photo bucket, which I had for many years before it became a paid service, and it seems the email it was linked to was also purged by the host site. My Geocities was not one of the ones saved. What is generally safe, but can be fatal if not used correctly? In-cap mushrooms are edible foragable mushrooms, but if consumed with alcohol, they become toxic. One example of why using foraging apps to identify a yes or no answer as to whether something is edible isn't a great idea. One of my favorite phrases is that the only difference between being medicine and being poison is the dosage. Your bathroom. Many people get hurt badly in flip in the bathroom. Oddly enough, we tend to use materials that are rather slick when wet when building them too. Drinking water. Salt, sprinkle it on your food and you're fine, but consume 10 teaspoons at once and you could die. What's something that you still have memorized from when you were younger but don't use anymore? My very easy method just sums up 9 planets, order or planets, from the sun, rip Pluto. My grandparents' phone number. I can still recite the dialogue from my 5th grade play, even though I don't think I'll be playing the role of a talking tree anytime soon. Up, up, down, down, left, right, be a start. The opening rap to The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. What's the weirdest rebranding of all time? Waiter was an extremely successful delivery service here. They had full-time employees and you could get food delivered in 30-45 minutes. Then they made everybody an independent contractor and started calling themselves ASAP. As slow as possible caught on, and they lost with the majority market share within a month. Weight Watchers abbreviated their name down to WW and, in doing so, increased the syllables needed to pronounce their new company name. Nordic Choice Hotels rebranded to Strawberry. They have to mention their old name all the time, because strawberry could be absolutely anything. What comedy movie is a 10-10? Robin Hood Men in Tights always gets me. Airplane. Young Frankenstein. This is Spinal Tap. The Other Guys. I seriously think about it almost every day. The Birdcage. Superbad. Christmas Vacation ... It's my favorite movie ever. Hot Fuzz. Blazing Saddles. Tommy Boy. I can get a good look at T-Bone by sticking my head up a bull's ass, but I'd rather take the butcher's word for it. Shaun of the Dead makes me laugh every time. Life of Brian. Trading Places, Coming to America. Happy Gilmore. Monty Python and the Holy Grail. Airplane. Tropic Thunder. Super Troopers. What's the most bizarre house rule you've encountered at someone else's home? In 1972, we were amazed when a colleague announced that no one would be allowed to smoke in his house. I cannot sit on the couch at my dad's house if his wife is home because she will feel invaded. She has to have the whole couch to herself, so I get to sit in a dining room table chair. No talking during dinner, not because of any traditional reason, but because their elderly grandmother believed that a mischievous spirit living in the dining room would learn secrets and cause chaos. What are your thoughts on chiropractors? I was working at a trade show once, and in the next booth was a chiropractor. He had a device that he would run up and down over people's spines, and it would beep when it detected a misalignment. Everyone he tested that day had a misalignment, every single one. The guy who invented it claims he was told how to do it by a ghost. I'm not letting anyone who thinks that's a good idea crunch my bones. I'm a nurse and would never go to one. I do like getting massaged though, but not at the chiropractor. That they are not medical professionals. There's no real science that supports them. If you have problems, go to a psychical therapist. What would make you smile right now? If work got canceled tomorrow. A hug. Edit, thank you for all the virtual hugs. Sadly, it don't give any warmth. If my doctor said I was cancer-free. Acceptance letter for a transfer to a certain college I want to go to. Edit, thanks for the positive responses. Being told I'm loved. My mother and I talking. Fresh watermelon, the extra crispy seedless kind. Being told I'm enough. Edit, oh my god, thank you all so much. 1 million American dollars every year for the next 50 years. Serotonin, dopamine, oxytocin. Physical touch. Finding out that Matthew Perry dying was a hoax all along. What needs to die out in 2024? Bedbugs. Politicians being able to lie with impunity. Accept all cookies as the only option. Ridiculous cost of living. Social media challenges to break the law or hurt people. Subscription services, but they won't. They'll keep replacing single upfront purchases. It's a shame. People who use their phone speakers in public. Lifetime politicians. Unaffordable housing prices. The tumor cells in every cancer patient. Tipping for any little thing. Strong opinions on things we are too lazy to research. I still do it. I try to rethink important issues and say, have I honestly researched this? Or am I just saying what I heard someone else say? What have you always done, but later found out was gross? Looks like the better question would have been, how often do you change your bed sheets? Not washing behind ears. As a child, I would dig up bits of clay from the local sandbox. It wasn't as good as Play-Doh, so I would cast it aside and continue digging. Maybe I didn't have a very good sense of smell at that age, because I was well into adulthood before I realized it was probably cat shit. All my life, I wiped my toothbrush on the hand towel to dry it up until my sister asked what the fuck I was doing. Chewing on fingernails, haven't done it in decades, but once upon a time. What's an event in history that is so ridiculous it sounds fake? The Erfurt latrine disaster. The Erfurt latrine disaster occurred on the 26th of July 1184, when Henry VI, King of Germany, later Holy Roman Emperor, held a Hoftag informal assembly in the Petersburg Citadel in Erfurt. Oboes caused the wooden second-story floor of the building to collapse, and most of them fell through into the latrine cesspit below the ground floor, where about 60 of them drowned in liquid excrement. What is the adult version of finding out that Santa Claus doesn't exist? Sometimes there is no justice. Finding out that reaching retirement is about hitting a financial number and not reaching an age. You can do everything right and still fail. The reverse is true as well. Finding out that someone you have looked up to and admired your entire life is actually a horrible person. When I was a kid, I thought adults had everything figured out and couldn't wait to grow up so I could be like them. HAH. For me, it was realizing the high school mindset in people never and see it in 60-year-olds in Facebook now. That working harder does not equal getting paid more or being promoted. Who are some people you know personally or otherwise who ruined their own lives and how? NT of a special needs autistic woman. Going so far as to try and take her into special custody. He is 30. She is 20-ish but wasn't prepared for the financial hit of taking care of another human being. After living together for some time, he wasn't able to secure custody and became homeless while she moved back with her parents. He also tried fucking her. What is the silliest town name in your state? 2 cities, Manly and Fertile. Headline in local paper: Manly man marries fertile woman. For real. Kumbum, India. Intercourse? Braintree. We used to have gay head, but it was changed to Aquina. They claim it's to honor the native name of the town, but I think it's partially because it's a weird name. Sandwich funnier when you see cop cars driving around labeled sandwich police. Boring. Quite a few in the UK. Bell End, Shitterton, Brown Willie, Twat are just a few. Cheesequick, Toad Suck, Sandwich, Cooter, Coxsackie, Not mine, but I very nearly moved to a town called Dildo. Walla Walla. What is one obstacle you have had to overcome and how did it change you? Are we writing your college admission essay? I went blind at 19, black blind for about a week, legally blind after that. My personality is more introverted now. I had to change careers because working on cars is harder when you can't see problems. Life is rarely easy for anyone, but you make the best of what you have and hopefully it's enough. As a production owner, I had to master social media, and I hate social media. On the other hand, it has taught me more about the current generation running the world right now, which made my life much simpler since then. ADHD, developed patience for myself and resilience to keep working at it. What do millionaires do differently than everyone else? Have a high enough household income to meet their basic needs and then they save and invest there. Money consistently over decades. Compounding is a hell of a thing. Earning 7 on your money doubles it in 10 years. You don't need to make over $100K to reach a $1 million balance in investments. You just get there a hell of a lot faster if you make more money. Because it's easier to avoid excessive spending on wants than it is to avoid spending on needs and simple comforts. If you were paid $100K a year to work a job 40 hours a week, and the job is non-stop filling out the same, boring 3 forms over and over, would you do it? If so, how long? Why? That is already pretty close to my life. Been going for 5 years so far. Can I work from home? And can I have music or something playing? If so, yes. If I can listen to music or podcasts, then sure. Which person had the worst downfall in the last 5 years? Not that Danny Masterson had much of a career after that 70s show, but it's hard to top being imprisoned for 30 years for multiple rapes. It has went from being one of the greatest volleyball players ever, a Rhodes Scholar, Wall Street guru, real estate tycoon, Jewish icon, and former president of Brazil to a lowly exiled member of the U.S. Congress, coup de grace. Elizabeth Holmes and Michael Avenatti come to mind. Kevin Spacey, it's crazy he was one of my fave actors. Colleen Bollinger, Matt Lauer, Jada Smith, I went from not knowing her name to knowing all about her affairs. Ellen DeGeneres. What are the quiet luxury brands that only the super rich know about? Duxiana, for people who can buy a mattress that costs as much as a car. John Law Bootmaker in St. James make beautiful handmade shoes for royalty. Celebrities and rich types, they are well known but not a household name. Tailors on Savile Row, wealthy people get their clothes custom made. I had a rich friend once tell me that Gucci is what poor people think rich people wear. Since then, I noticed that all of her clothes fit perfect, but she never has logos on anything. What makes you roll your eyes every time you hear it? When someone says, "I'll be ready in 5 minutes," and you know you have time to watch a Lord of the Rings marathon before they're actually ready. Whenever you're at a large function for work with a speaker in the morning and there's this exchange. Speaker, good morning, everyone. Everyone, good morning. Speaker, oh, looks like we haven't had our coffee yet. I said, good morning, everyone. Everyone, good morning. When someone posts something political and calls everyone triggered for simply disagreeing with the post. I was going to join the military, but I punched the first ASCII who yelled at me, "Sure, kid. Whatever you say." What did you purchase as an adult because you could never have it as a child? A metal detector. I always wanted one as a kid, but my dad said I'd use it a handful of times. Then it would sit and collect dust forever. I bought myself one, and it turns out that my dad was right. Basketball hoop for my son me. Concerts. My parents refused to let me see my favorite singer when I was like 15 because it was in the big city. So a few years ago, I went and saw her live here and then drove to see her again 3 hours away the next night and it was amazing. Clothes that fit. All the current gaming consoles. Feels good, man. For everyone making 6 figures, what do you do for work? Air traffic control. Pharmacist to 5OK student loan. Super stressful job that I hate. Would not recommend. Doctor, but I sold my life and my youth. It's not worth it. What's the worst movie you've ever seen? Cats? Holmes Watson 2018. I consider myself an easy audience. During the whole projection, I did not laugh even once. So did the whole cinema, by the way. I don't know what happened here. Mrs. Brown's Boys movie. I don't think I need to elaborate any further. Troll 2. I adore it 'cause it's just such an epic study in how to fail at literally every aspect of movie making. The soundtrack, camera angles, writing, acting, special effects, lighting, props, makeup, and masks. It's just bad at everything. It's the little movie that couldn't. I want to take it home and keep it safe since it clearly can't fend for itself. What popular movie has a terrible moral? Not exactly popular, but Raya and the Last Dragon. The moral was to let down your defenses and learn to trust in others again. But the villain has never shown herself to be anything other than an unapologetic traitor. Time and time again. Teaching kids to trust people no matter how awful they are to you seems pretty shitty. The Parent Trap. Your divorced parents do still love each other and belong together. They just need your help to rekindle the romance and they'll get married again. Due to that fact, you should be a horrendous brat to any potential stepparents and make their lives miserable to chase them away. What movie gave you the biggest mindfuck? The Matrix. I was lucky enough to watch it when it came out, without spoilers, with no idea what it was about. My God, it was amazing. Old Boy, the original South Korean version. Requiem for a Dream. At first, I was expecting nothing, but when ended, I couldn't stop thinking about it. Same with Old Boy. The Skeleton Key. Ex Machina. Truman Show. It was ahead of its time in the sense of how everyone feels like the whole world is about them as the main character and everyone else's background characters. Even as you read this, you'll think of me as just some random person on Reddit, but I'm in my 40s. And I've lived a fun life where I felt like I was the main character. But to you, I'm just another person. Not including founding fathers or former presidents. Who would you put on US money? Mr. Rogers, a national treasure. How about we put museums and national parks? No one. The greatness of America is not its people. It's the achievements the nation has accomplished that should be celebrated. That said, my suggestions: $1 Kitty Hawk, $2 telephone, $5 electricity, $10 internet, $20 democracy, $50 Manhattan Project, $100 moon landing. What are baby names people think are classy but really aren't? I had a pair of twin boys in one of my classes named Master and Sir. Know a guy who named his kid Bourbon. It's an old French name, because that's what everyone will think when they hear it. Chardonnay. Designer brand names, always been odd. Anyone named after a designer brand or type of car. Would you get an abortion? Ask your partner to get an abortion if you get to know that the baby is going to be disabled. If yes, why, or if no, why? Depends on so many factors. Carry the baby to term to make its organs available for transplant as pediatric organs for transplant are very hard to find, and that way their child's life could have meaning and be a gift for others. Bless them for that. I don't think I would have that in me to do. Completely depends on the disability and the quality of life the baby would have. Yes, I ain't got it in me. Very much depends on the severity. Yeah, regular babies are hard enough. If the President of the United States only gets paid for $100,000 per year with a $50,000 expense account, why should the CEO of any company in the US of any size be paid millions of dollars per year? In theory, politics should be a duty and not a money maker. Also, paying politicians too much is politically unpopular as it's our money. CEOs' wages are decided by a board paid with private company money, so it's not really our say. The president is a civil servant. The goal of government is to provide a service. It is not to be profitable. A CEO's goal is to lead a company in profitability. As such, they receive a share of the profits. That profit share is based directly on the amount of profit they drive. What is a dead giveaway that you're unattractive? If you tell a self-deprecating joke, everyone will look uncomfortable or get quiet. The only compliment you get is that you're funny. Small kids saying you're ugly. When the popular kids would prank their friends by getting you to ask their friend out. When your dog licks your face and then licks his balls to get rid of the taste. The only person who says you are handsome or pretty is grandma. You get this sympathy smile. The reflection in your mirror refuses to look at you. Your family never asks why you're single. You've never been complimented on your looks. One time a girl in my history class looked at me with the most disgusted look on her face and said, "I'm not sitting next to him." You're given $1,000 cash every day, but anytime you need to poop, you have to use a public restroom. Are you taking the $1,000? Why or why not? For $365,000 per year, I'd wipe strangers' assholes sparkling clean. If I got $1,000 every day, I wouldn't need a job. I'd have plenty of time to find public restrooms. If my salary is replaced by not a job, then I'm going to spend my days traveling. I'd be stuck with public restrooms either way. 100. I'd just bribe a janitor £100 to place a no entry sign for the whole bathroom. If it cost him his job, I'll pay him a salary until he finds a new one. What was cool in 5000 BC that's still cool now? Finding a cool rock or a cool stick. Sitting around the campfire. I guess throwing anything and hitting the target consistently. Slingshots, throwing axes, spears, darts, beer pong. Looking up at the Milky Way. Using little pictures as text. Sitting and watching a fire. Sex. Boobs. Skipping rocks on water. Flinging rocks with a slingshot. Looking into the depths of a campfire. Burning incense. Consuming alcohol, cannabis. Painting. Sculpting. I could go on and on and on. Building a big fire. Lighting the fire. Watching the fire. Clubbing. What is the most British thing in your opinion? Having had the pleasure to study alongside British boys and gals, I'd say them going let's grab a pint at basically any point of the day, any day, all the time. Good times. Offering tea when people are upset. Beans on toast. Twat, wonker, bollocks, bloody, the lot, cuppa, etc. Lol as an American with parents from there. I can tell immediately when a commenter is from the UK. Queuing. Keep calm and carry on. Hanging on in quiet desperation is the English way, Pink Floyd. If you want great teeth, choose your parents well, a dentist once told me. What was the best reality check you've been told? As far as reality checks go, for me it was learning the fact that there is no physical law that dictates that life will be fair. Or just, nature eats babies all the time. Literally the situation I'm in. My father had dentures by the time he was 21, and even though I brush 3 times a day after every meal and floss at least every other night, I still have a mouthful of crowns and fillings. I did not pull a winning ticket in the generic lottery. You're not good enough to get mad after a bit of an outburst on the golf course comment came from my Bill, who was good enough and seldom got mad. What is your go-to obscure movie quote that if someone understands you instantly become best friends? The thing is, Bob, it's not that I'm lazy. It's that I just don't care. My roommates said they would get me rims for Christmas and a CB radio so I can talk to other car beds. That's a lot of nuts. I'm starting to question your commitment to sparkle motion. I'd buy that for $1. You see how picky I am about my shoes, and they only go on my feet. Life is pain, Highness. Anyone who says differently is selling something. Dread Pirate Roberts. Robert better not get in my face, 'cause I'll drop that motherfucker. Hello, computer, hello. Fat, drunk, and stupid is no way to go through life, son.